Okay, so you're thinking about getting an apartment at Ambience Creations in Gurgaon. That's awesome. But let's be real for a sec. Picking the right apartment size, it can be a real headache. I mean,
Yeah.
they hit you with all those numbers, square feet, square meters. It's like, what does that even look like in real life, right?
Yeah.
So that's exactly what we're going to figure out in this deep dive today. We're going to break it all down, help you figure out what size apartment at Ambience Creations really works for you. We've got two pretty interesting sources to help us get a feel for this place, Ambience Creations. First up, we've got this document, Ambience Creations, Gurgaon.pdf. Think of it like our little cheat sheet. It's got all the apartment types, the square footage, all the nitty-gritty details. And then add a little something something, we've got pasted text. This one seems to be all about the lifestyle at Ambience Creations. You know, like the whole vibe, the amenities, all that jazz. So let's kick things off with that Ambience Creations, Gurgaon.pdf. Like I said, this thing's all about the numbers, the hard data on apartment sizes. They've laid it all out in terms of BHK,
Yeah.
which, just in case you're not familiar, it stands for bedroom, hall, and kitchen. So like a 2 BHK means 2 bedrooms, a living hall, and a kitchen. Pretty straightforward. But here's what I thought was kind of funny. They list everything twice, once in square feet and then again in square meters. Like maybe they're trying to cover all their bases, appeal to both local and international buyers. What do you make of that?
That's a really smart observation. It is clever, providing both sets of measurements. It's like a subtle nod to the global real estate market, especially in a city like Gurgaon, which attracts a lot of international folks. So yeah, I think they're definitely targeting a more internationally minded clientele.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought about it like that. Okay, so let's get into these 2 BHKs. The smallest one they've got is 1,380 square feet, or 128.20 square meters, if you're into that.
Yep.
Which, let me tell you, that's actually bigger than some studios I've seen. Even some one-bedroom apartments out there. You could totally fit a good-sized living area in there. A couple of bedrooms, obviously. Maybe even squeeze in a little home office if you're working remotely these days. But things get really interesting when we move up to the 3 BHKs.
You can say that again. What I find fascinating is the variety they offer within the 3 BHKs. You've got options from a still pretty spacious 1,860 square feet, all the way up to a whopping 3,223 square feet. Now, that is a considerable difference in living space.
Wow, 3,223 square feet. That's not just an apartment. That's like practically a mansion.
Right, and I think this range in size shows they're trying to attract all kinds of families. You've got those smaller 3 BHKs, perfect for maybe young families or couples who want a bit more space. But then those massive ones, those are practically designed for like multi-generational living. Imagine having your parents or in-laws comfortably living under the same roof.
That is a really interesting point. It really speaks to how Ambience Creations is trying to cater to different family structures, different lifestyles. It's not just about how many bedrooms you need anymore. It's about how much space you need to live comfortably with, the people you love and how you want to live your life. Speaking of lifestyle, let's move on to our second source, the pasted text. If the first one was all about the numbers, this one is all about the vibes. And it sounds like Ambience Creations is going for a pretty luxurious feel. Wouldn't you say so?
Oh, absolutely. The language they used to describe the development is very deliberate. For example, they actually call the 4 BHK apartments palaces.
A palace. Okay, that's a bold statement. I mean, yeah, 3,900 square feet. That's pretty massive. But is it really, palace-worthy?
Well, palace might be a tad dramatic, but you see what they're doing, right? They're selling a whole dream, an aspirational lifestyle.
And to add to that dream, they've definitely gone all out with the amenities. We're talking about a huge clubhouse, green parks everywhere, a whole sports complex. They even have, get this, dedicated no-vehicle zones, which in a city like Gurgaon, that sounds like a dream come true.
Right. It definitely creates this image of peace and quiet, which is pretty appealing. And I think that's a really smart move on their part.
How so?
Well, think about it by offering all these incredible amenities, by emphasizing the sense of community. They're appealing to a buyer who's looking for more than just a big apartment.
So it's more about buying into a whole lifestyle.
Exactly. They want you to feel like everything you could ever need is right there at your doorstep.
So if you're the kind of person who values convenience, who wants to be part of a community, and hey, who wouldn't want a little luxury in their life, right? Ambience Creation seems to check all those boxes.
Yeah.
But we gotta be real, all of this comes with a price tag.
Oh, for sure. And location plays a huge role in that.
Right.
The pasted text mentions being close to Delhi, which is prime real estate, obviously. And with prime real estate comes, well, premium prices.
Right, of course. So then it becomes a question of, is it worth it? Does the convenience, the luxury of Ambience Creations, does it justify the price tag? Especially compared to maybe getting a larger apartment in other areas of Gurgaon, maybe somewhere a little further out.
Now that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And honestly, the answer is going to be different for everyone. Some people, they prioritize being close to the action no matter what. Others might be willing to sacrifice a bit of location to get more space or a better price.
And that's what makes this whole apartment size thing so interesting, isn't it? It's not just about how many square feet you can get. It's about figuring out what really matters to you, what kind of lifestyle you want, what you're willing to compromise on. It's kind of like trying to find the perfect outfit, you know?
Wow.
It's not about squeezing into the tiniest size or just grabbing the biggest one they've got.
I like that.
It's about finding that sweet spot where you feel good, you feel confident, ready to take on the world. Or, at least your to-do list.
Right. And when it comes to apartments, that perfect fit, it's going to look different for everyone. For some people, it's all about that space, having as much as they can get. Others, they'd rather be in a lively community with all the bells and whistles, even if it means less space.
Exactly. And that's what we've uncovered with Ambience Creations, right? They're not messing around. They've got a whole range of apartment sizes.
Right.
From those cozy 2 BHKs, perfect for single folks, young couples, small families, all the way up to those massive 4 BHKs, those palaces.
Right, exactly.
Which, let's be honest, are probably better suited for bigger families who really want that space and privacy. But what I find really interesting is how they're not just relying on square footage to win people over. They're pulling out all the stops with these luxury amenities, that whole emphasis on community living. And of course, you can't beat that Gurgaon address.
And that's what makes this so interesting for our listeners, right? Because now you got all the info. You know what's important to you. So you can really weigh those options. Is it all about having the most space possible? Or would you rather have less space for the convenience, for the luxury that Ambience Creations is offering?
Tough choices, right. But hey, that's adulting for you. So as you're thinking all this over, here's a final thought to chew on. We've talked a lot about Ambience Creations being in a prime location and how that probably bumps up the price. But what about other areas? Places maybe a little farther out from the city center? Could you maybe find a bigger place with similar amenities for a better price? Or is that combo of luxury, location, and lifestyle at Ambience Creations, is it really one of a kind? That, my friend, is the million-dollar question. But that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Hopefully you're feeling a lot more confident about your apartment hunt now. You know what size options are out there at Ambience Creations, but more importantly, you've thought about what really matters to you in your next home. So until next time, happy apartment hunting, everyone.